It honors our nation's veterans with a visit to the tomb of the unknown soldier. And damaging testimony is revealed during Meghan Markle's privacy hearing. Also, two of the world's biggest polluters, China and the U.S., pledged to work together on climate change.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thousands are honoring our nation's men and women in uniform this Veterans Day. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes, honoring those who have served and recognizing the sacrifice of the more than 400,000 service members who've given their lives for our country. President Biden and Vice President Harris remembered fallen veterans at wreath-laying ceremonies in both Washington and in France. Hundreds of events are taking place around the country, including a tribute at the World War II Memorial in Washington. Newton County honored our nation's heroes at an event last night in Neosho. David Osborne served as guest speaker. He's a retired Army National Guard sergeant and current county commissioner.
Go out and tell the veteran thank you for his service and what he does, and just enjoy that day and recognize your veterans and your family and in your friends and around the community.
All area veterans and their families were invited to attend the event at the courthouse. Well, storms blew through the 4 states overnight, but they're gone. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
And I tell you what, the nice thing about Mother Nature is getting rid of those thunderstorms overnight for a beautiful Veterans Day afternoon. Those parades, those ceremonies, and really whether they be this afternoon, Tanya, and I know Joplin's got theirs coming up on the 13th over the weekend. It's going to be a little bit chillier, but it sure is going to be nice. Here we sit temperature-wise at 12:01 on a Thursday afternoon on this Veterans Day, anywhere from about, say 53 to 58 degrees. So pretty seasonable for this time of year, to be honest with you. Haven't had a whole lot of change in our temperatures. As far as the Skywatch Storm Tracker, clear and clean as can be. Those thunderstorms that we had that Tanya alluded to overnight, look at that. They're a thing of the past right now. The Tennessee River Valley and Ohio River Valley, they can deal with them next. Big blizzard working over the upper plains right there. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with that. But we've got some colder temperatures on our horizon. But still, this afternoon, we're pushing up close to 60 degrees with plenty of sunshine. Now, our cold weather is going to kick in tomorrow. First off, some light scattered rain, not the thunder and lightning that we had definitely last night. But after that, it's that cloud cover. Sometimes that cloud cover really helps. As it disperses, our temperatures drop all the way down into the 30s. Tanya, we've got a bunch of Friday night activity, whether it be high school football, whether it be people getting out and about. And look at that Friday night into Saturday morning low. No, thank you, ma'am. Coming up here in just a little bit, we'll kind of recap about what happened last night and how we head into a chilly weekend before we get a great rebound for the middle of next week.
There we go. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, Freeman Health System announces a vaccine mandate for its employees. The mandate is a result of guidelines from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS. In a news release, CMS says the Biden administration is requiring COVID vaccination of eligible staff at healthcare facilities that participate in Medicare and Medicaid programs. Freeman did not have a mandate in place and had been leaving the decision to get vaccinated to its employees.
Because our employees were so proactive in taking the initiative to do that themselves. However, CMS has now issued a ruling that says we must mandate it. So that's why we're doing it, and that every employee will need to be vaccinated by January the 4th.
Baker says there are exemption options that employees can file for, including those for medical and religious reasons. Joplin Health Department is trying an incentive to get more people vaccinated. The department is using funds from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services to offer gift cards to some folks who get a COVID-19 shot. People who get their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine will receive a $50 Visa gift card. Then, when they return for a second dose, they'll receive another $50 gift card. The case of a British tabloid breaching the privacy of Meghan Markle is back in court today. The Mail on Sunday published parts of a letter she wrote to her father after she married Prince Harry. The paper's lawyers are trying to overturn a judge's ruling in her favor. Holly Williams reports on the couple's continuing court battle.
In New York last night, the Duke and Duchess made a regal appearance in honour of US veterans. And this week, she spoke out about her fight against the Mail on Sunday.
You must stand up for what's right, and that's what I'm doing.
In 2019, the British tabloid newspaper published parts of a handwritten letter Meghan Markle sent to her father, a heartfelt plea, according to her lawyer, begging Thomas Markle to stop talking to the media. He gave extracts from the letter to the tabloid. A ruling in February found the paper in breach of the Duchess's privacy and copyright, but now its publishers are challenging that, and they have evidence from Jason Knauf, a former communications aide for the couple, who claims the Duchess knew her father could make the letter public and allegedly told Knauf, "Obviously, everything I have drafted is with the understanding that it could be leaked, so I have been meticulous in my word choice." In a written statement to the court, the Duchess denied she thought her father would leak the letter. Mark Stevens is an expert in media law.
If this letter was written deliberately for the purpose of being leaked and also expecting it to be leaked, there is a question as to whether or not this letter was truly private.
The Duchess also apologised for misleading the court, saying she'd previously not remembered that Knauf had provided information to the authors of this book with her knowledge. That could now be used against her.
The newspaper's lawyers are saying this letter was part of the wider PR campaign, as was the book.
Holly Williams, CBS News, London.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, climate cooperation.
The United States and China say they will work together to cut carbon emissions. I'm Natalie Brand with the surprise agreement announced at the Climate Summit in Scotland.
And later, looking for that extra touch, we're making made-from-scratch frostings in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. The 2-week United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland enters its final days as two of the world's biggest polluters, the U.S. and China, have pledged to work together on climate change. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Biden's climate envoy John Kerry detailed the surprise agreement that the United States reached with China to try and combat climate change.
We will work together to limit methane. Methane emissions, a greenhouse gas up to 80 times more destructive, more potent than CO2.
The two nations released a joint statement Wednesday saying they intend to establish a working group to meet regularly and focus on enhancing concrete actions in this decade.
Out of this cooperation, we expect acceleration of the rate of reduction.
Climate experts at the COP26 meeting in Scotland welcomed the deal, but also say governments need to pick up the pace in order to stay within the goal of only a 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise in the next 10 years. The UN Secretary General says that means reducing emissions globally by 45% by 2030.
Every country, every city, every company, every financial institution must radically, credibly and verifiably reduce their emissions and decarbonize their portfolios starting now.
President Biden is expected to meet virtually with China's President Xi as early as next week. In Glasgow last week, the president criticized Xi for not attending the climate summit.
The fact that China, trying to assert, understandably, a new role in the world as a world leader, not showing up, come on.
In the newly announced joint declaration, Beijing and Washington agreed to share technology to reduce emissions and do more to stop deforestation. Natalie Brent, CBS News, the White House.
UK is hosting COP26, which ends tomorrow. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Whether your cookies, cakes, or bars are homemade or start from a box mix, nothing makes them stand out more than our from-scratch frostings.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
A happy Veterans Day and a thank you to all who have served our country. While it seems like a small token of appreciation, it is indeed heartfelt when we say that, not only for those of you who have served, but are serving right now. I want to kind of reflect on our high temperatures for the past 10 days. We go back to Tuesday right here. That'd be November 2nd. And while we started off the month on a cold spree, we got spoiled here lately. You go back to Sunday, And we just ran that spree of 70s. I mean, yesterday got up to 69 and whatnot, but our November average high still equals out about 61 degrees. And look at where we should be on November 11th, 60 degrees. I love how Mother Nature just has a way of putting everything together. And as we stand over a beautiful 7th and Range line on this November the 11th, look at this, 56 degrees at the noon hour, which means you put our peak heating hours in between 2:30, 3 o'clock, we'll be right at 60 degrees. One thing that is making a difference, that west-northwest wind coming in at 22 miles per hour. So once again, blustery, just changed directions on us, and that's why we're not going to hit the 70s today. But still, at the same point in time, it has been gorgeous after last night's thunderstorm activity, ranging really anywhere from about 53 to 58. But put that into consideration about where we were at this point in time yesterday when Tanya and I were doing the KOM News at Noon. Anywhere from really about a 9 to 13 degree drop earlier this morning. We saw drops as large as 24 degrees in the span of 24 hours. But the nice thing about the Skywatch Storm Tracker, it is clear as a bell. Let's talk about that rain that we picked up overnight. Majority of our totals range from about quarter to half an inch. That's what you see in the light turquoise right there. Then when you see the green works into just a little patch of yellow every now and then, that's anywhere from inch. Did pick up about 1.5 inches. That's where you get little dots of yellow right there. But for the most part, everything able to absorb it. We had no flood concerns whatsoever. And now everything pushing all the way east of the Mississippi. It's been an impressive line though, stretching from Gulf all the way to coast. And they got a mess on their hands up here in the upper plains. But what's happened is with the trough of the jet stream and that low pressure that now runs down through about Arkansas, as it continues to push that rain out to our east. Behind it, a whole bunch of high pressure, blue sky, sunshine, no worries, except if you live up here, because look at this mess. They got everything from high wind warnings indicated in the pink, the white, and the yellow. And then when you get up right up here, that's a blizzard warning that they're having to put up with in the middle of November. So all of a sudden we consider ourselves lucky. Not that we're not going to have our own bout of some cold temperatures, but for our Veterans Day, what a beautiful, beautiful afternoon is. We'll push up around 60 degrees with plenty of sunshine. And don't forget, you can always go to KOAMnewsnow.com and recognize a veteran of your family. Each and every newscast, we salute one of our 4 state heroes. It's a great way just to remind them that they're always on your mind, not only on Veterans Day, but 365 days out of the year. As we push into our nighttime hours, temperatures not too bad, pretty seasonable, but we got a little scattered early AM rain that's going to drop down. As it does, works in, we'll see some out to the west and also on the southern portion of the 4 states, the majority of it falling below and south of I-44, not the thunder and lightning that we had yesterday, and really just going to drop off, shouldn't affect much of our morning commute. And then, Tanya, get ready for a frigid Friday night. We're talking about temperatures dropping down into the 20s. That's right, 20s. So for all of you, and we'll break this down, join us for the KOAM Morning News tomorrow because we'll have our high school football forecast. And not only are we going to jot around because we've got a lot of teams on the road, but by the time we have kickoffs tomorrow, our wind chills are going to be in the low 30s.
Yeah.
I can't help you. You're looking at, it's not hatred.
I don't like the sound
Folks,
of that.
It wasn't hatred she was looking at me with. It was
really not going to warm up that much on Saturday.
It was frustration. That's all it was. Yes, I know we're going to get there. But remember, I'm the terrible weather person who plays glass half empty.
Hey, but look at next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Why did you steal my line for tomorrow's morning news?
I'm look at glass half full. Glass half full.
Script for tomorrow. That doesn't work anymore.
That's what I do best.
I'll have to write a new one for tomorrow morning then.
All right. Thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Seaman Lewis Keith in the United States Navy. Pittsburgh, Kansas native was stationed at Pearl Harbor and fought in the Marshall Islands during World War II. He served proudly from 1943 to 1945. To Lewis Keith, we thank you. Today's Veterans Day 4-state hero. Are you one of those people who sees cake as a way to get more frosting in your mouth? Don't worry, it can be our secret. Today, Howard shares his as we make frosting in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Now that we're about to enter the holiday season, it seems like we're looking for new and exciting ways to kick up our baked goods. And whether we're looking to jumpstart our cookies, cakes, or even our bars, nothing does it better than finishing them with a homemade frosting. So let me share 3 of my favorites. Here, I'm making a from-scratch cinnamon buttercream frosting, which is simply some butter, brown sugar, and cinnamon beaten together. Now that it's light and fluffy, we stir in a splash of vanilla and some powdered sugar. After this comes together, we beat in some half and half and more powdered sugar. Does this look good or what? And for those of you who love the combo of chocolate and coffee, our mocha frosting is a creamy, fluffy spin-off of a ganache that is truly to die for. And if by chance you love caramel, I mean really love it, then our decadent caramel frosting should not be missed. Imagine any of these slathered on cookies for Santa or on a really good snack cake. To get the recipes for our cinnamon buttercream frosting, the caramel frosting, and our mocha frosting, along with the snack cake recipe that I was talking about, just go to our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a sweeter way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
One more time, a hearty thank you from all of us at KOAM for those of you who have served or are serving. No, it's fine, Dylan, because I was going to talk about the fact that the parades, the ceremonies are going to be absolutely glorious this afternoon with highs around 60 degrees. Now remember, early tomorrow morning, that's when a little rain drops in, but it's going to be quick, won't hamper our morning commute, but also too, Friday night if you're out and about, bundle up. We're going to drop below the freezing point.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, an alarming rise in breast cancer among military veterans reignites concerns about burn pits on overseas military bases. We're going to take a look at that in Health Watch. Plus, the body of a local firefighter who died from injuries in a house fire is brought home, and a parade in Fort Scott to honor and thank some local veterans. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dallin. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.